Start out with Frankie, if we could, please. Of course, congratulations on an impressive performance tonight. Got to ask you, I mean, it looked pretty flawless, but give us your evaluation. How did you feel in there tonight?
Yeah, I felt good. Kind of just knew we had to swarm and press them, and that's what we did. Able to get the job done. I felt I had the advantage on the ground, so able to land some big blows from the top. First round, I hit him with a good elbow, slowed his eye up, and just kind of kept it going after.
Yeah. I want to ask about your mindset coming in. I mean, a lot of people were saying, that Yair looks like the real deal, but is this the moment? And kind of, did it put a chip on your shoulder at all? Like saying, are they saying that my time is gone? Did you come in feeling a little bit of that, like you wanted to send a message and really put on an emphatic win?
You always have to have a chip on your shoulder in there, and you guys kind of gave me that motivation by pointing out those facts. But I just got to do what I got to do every time I walk in there, and that's dominating when I can. So yeah.
And you know what it's like in the UFC when you lose 2 to the champ. It's tough to get that third fight. But why do you think that should that be the way things pan out in this division, that you should get that title shot?
I don't know, man. Of course that's what I want. I'm the number 2 guy. One of those guys got to lose. That makes sense for me to be the guy. That's not how it works, obviously. But I'll lobby for it if that's the case.
Congrats, of course, on the win. Did anything surprise you that Yair did? It seemed like you had your game plan set, and I think I mentioned to you before the fight, it felt a little bit like that Cub Swanson fight, where you had a guy with kind of the flashy striking style, and you kind of took him down and just, did your thing. Was that kind of the idea of what you would do to him?
Yeah, we were prepared. My coaches always have me prepared, win or lose. I'm ready to go. We have people throwing those crazy kicks at me, spitting stuff as much as they can. It's really tough to prepare for a guy like that, but we brought in certain people. I've been training with Marlon Moraes, had some Barboza for the past 5 years, so it's not like I don't have guys throwing kicks at me. We just made sure we left no stone unturned and we were ready to go, and I think it showed tonight.
They talk about, poster board material before a fight, and, leading into this, Yair was talking about, fighting for the title. He's going to start the Canelo, he's going to be the first guy to knock you out. How much of that did you hear, and did you just kind of put in the back of your head as you're, going out there and doing what you're doing?
Yeah, I hear. I try not to listen to any of that stuff, because everybody says they're going to knock me out, or everyone says they're going to do this and that, and that's the nature of the fight game. But I guess you put it in, in the back burner and let it motivate you. But everyone's going to talk Little John.
You said to ask you this question after May 13th, so here we are. Do you find yourself, or will you find yourself down in Brazil maybe rooting a little bit for Max Holloway, considering that, I think it's a no-brainer if he wins, that you would be the next guy in line versus the Aldo fight, which is a little tougher.
I'll be there rooting for Marlon Moraes fighting, his debut for the UFC. I'm not one to sit there and root for either one of those guys. They're going to have to figure it out. Sometimes when you want something so bad, it doesn't happen. So we'll let them figure it out, and then we'll cross that bridge when it happens.
A question for Frankie. If Aldo were to win at UFC 212 and those 2 losses seem to prevent you from getting the title shot that you've earned, would you consider pursuing a return to the lightweight division? You wanted to fight Conor McGregor for the featherweight title when he was the champion. That never came to fruition. Is that something you would pursue, or would you just stay at featherweight and try to get your title shot?
If Conor McGregor fights on the table, it may be dumb not to want to fight that fight, but I'm comfortable right at 45 right now.
And as a veteran of the sport who works with so many other fighters, what was your kind of just assessment of Yair Rodriguez if you were trying to give him advice on what he needed to do to improve?
Yeah, I just think he's got to get his game more complete. He's got tons of skills in his stand-up game, and his jiu-jitsu's not bad. Went for a knee bar on me too. I think just kind of the middle games, some little adjustments, and I'm sure he'll be there.
And last question for me. The crowd was expected to be very pro Yair Rodriguez, but it seemed like it was pretty 50-50 with Frankie Edgar's fans and fans of Yair Rodriguez. Were you able to kind of pick up on that throughout the fight?
Yeah, a lot of times they'll come in screaming for someone else, but I don't know. People like screaming Frankie, so I usually hear that by the end of the fight.
And just 2 for Frankie.
Are they going to be like those kind of questions?
Well, I don't know. You didn't like those?
Nah, it's always stirring the pot. I like them.
No.
I like them.
What did you say to Yair after the fight?
I said respect. I said you're going to have a bright future, man. Keep your head up.
Okay. And I was just wondering, it was obviously very emotional to hear you talk about your friend Nick and what he's been through. And I was wondering if you had a hard time, this is, in the grand scheme of things, not as important as your family, and you said you wanted to go home. Was it hard for you to kind of compartmentalize what was going on and sort of, not get too emotional as you were entering this fight after hearing about something like that?
It was, our whole team was kind of, in the dumps a little bit, and it's tough, man. Every time I close my eyes, I just kind of thought about it, and we get emotional at times. But I mean, you try to do your best and focus on what you have in front of you, and luckily it turned out good. But yeah, it's really I don't have words to say what I'm feeling for Nick and his family.